Hello. Do this with me for a second. Close your eyes and imagine a world where everyone was blind. Okay, maybe not completely blind, but colorblind. As in, you wouldn't be able to tell which racial demographic the people sitting right next to you were a part of. Now open. Stereotypes are constantly inflicting our analysis of others and tend to present themselves as boundaries when meeting. We tend to see a person's outer appearance or their race and either purposely or subconsciously link that visual depiction to the development of their character. For instance, on a census, they consider me African American, but in truth, diversity is the essence of my being. I'm a woman of Italian, Hispanic, Native, and African American heritage, meaning that I don't just eat fried chicken and watermelon or drink red Kool-Aid. But society has taught you otherwise. Society has chosen to express and enforce negative depictions of minority groups that leave others with unfortunate connotations. These negatively expressed traits are so commonly shown in the media that they in turn deter others from wanting to get to know who you are. For example, in many American movies, North and Northeastern Asian Americans are portrayed as having broken English, or they're labeled as bruised bananas if they were soulful or danced to hip-hop music. And Southern or Southwestern Asian Americans are portrayed as being of nothing but the Hindu religion. Also, in American classics such as Gone with the Wind, minorities are portrayed poorly. African Americans were portrayed in that movie as being loud, black-faced, and codependent. And in the news, they're portrayed poorly as well. They're portrayed as ghetto and ignorant, such as in the famous Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife web success. That was basically a ghetto black man who was recalling a criminal event that was later turned into a chart-topping song. The news also displays Americans of the Spanish descent as nothing more than construction workers or illegal residents, and Native Americans as drunkards, savages, or rich casino owners. And then anyone who wears a hijab or a head covering is automatically labeled as a terrorist, which is a pretty ignorant statement.
Simply because Danielle and I both have brown skin doesn't mean we'll be telling the same story at a college seminar. In fact, we're very different. So, racial categories should not define who we are. Stereotypes actually have a paradoxical moral about them, meaning that, yes, they are stemmed from some sort of truth, whether exaggerated or not. So now we want to show you a couple of examples. Okay. So now Danielle will be playing a youngster wearing saggy pants, a hat cocked to the back, and a limp in her step. Okay. You look extremely familiar.
Hi, how are you doing?
Michael Jordan, right?
No, actually,
So you're Will Smith.
No, actually, I'm...
Okay, I know you have to be a football player. I mean, you're extremely
No, actually,
tall.
my name is Josh Marshall. I live down the street near River Oaks.
I mean, but look at you. You have to be from the ghetto, right?
No, like I said, I live in River Oaks.
It's okay. You don't have to be ashamed of where you're from.
I live in River Oaks.
It's okay. Nice meeting you, though.
Okay. As you can see, that was a pretty offensive way to address the situation. Now we're going to show you the scared aspect.
Now, Danielle will be playing the same character, and I'll be waiting at a bus stop, obviously waiting for a bus.
Hi, are you okay?
You're extremely close right now.
Oh, you look sad, so I
know your type, okay? I swear, I do not have a lot of money, and I have mace. I'm not afraid to use it.
Just want to see if you're okay.
Now, obviously, I showed fear based on stereotypes, and there was no reason for me to have fear. Now we want to show you a more appropriate way to address the situation. You look extremely familiar.
Really? Perhaps you saw my webpage. That's actually what I do. I build web pages for people starting new businesses.
That's actually fantastic. In fact, I just started a new business, and I need a website.
Perfect. You know what? Here, let me give you my card.
Absolutely.
Call me if you need anything. We'll talk about doing a business transaction.
Well, thank you. I'll be sure to give you a call.
No problem. That was, of course, a more appropriate way to address the situation. Now, the next scenario we're about to present to you is one that's a little bit more closer to home, as some of our friends go to these stereotypes every day.
Now, Danielle will be playing a young Muslim woman wearing a headscarf. And fair warning, this will be a bit offensive and hurtful, but this is exactly what we want to show you, that stereotypes exactly come across as this. Is that a bomb?
What? As you can see, that was extremely offensive.
Now,
But,
sorry, go ahead.
as you can see, that was extremely offensive. So we're going to show you another way that's also offensive that has happened before.
Hey, you're from Iraq.
No, actually, I'm from Compton.
Why are you not from Iraq?
Well, because my parents are from Pakistan, so therefore that would make me Pakistani.
I mean, Muslims, same place, same thing, all the same thing, right?
Actually, no, they're pretty much two different countries.
So what's that head rag thing you have on your head?
It's actually not a head rag, it's called a hijab.
Okay, you don't have to be so brutal about it. I was just asking a question. Now, as you can see, that was also very offensive. We want to show you a more appropriate way to do it.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I didn't see
my
you.
bad.
I'm sorry.
Really sorry.
That's a really pretty headscarf. What is that?
Oh, thank you. It's actually called a hijab, and I wear it because I'm Muslim, and I wear it to protect my virtue and to protect any temptations any men may have.
That's amazing. In fact, I mean, I've always been curious about it. I just didn't really know how to ask that question.
Oh, no problem.
Well, thank you for telling me.
Yeah, sorry about the shoulder thing.
It's okay.
As you can see, that was a way more appropriate way to address your curiosities to someone else's culture. One thing you may have noticed is that, ask questions. And perhaps that's the whole reason why we're here. One may find it way more offensive if you simply accuse them of being like some type of stereotype, rather than just asking a genuine question. That's probably the most important thing to keep in mind. The initiative to learn about someone creates a rapport that may in turn stem a bond strong enough to catalyze many opportunities.
And that's what diversity does. It expands an already rapidly growing society. Now that we've shown you a few how-tos on how to confront these kind of situations, I want to get more to the hard stuff. Now, imagine me, if you will, a world where everyone could see clearly now, right? We're blind, now we can see clearly. Now let's take a look at this picture. This is a group of young, bright ladies. They're actually classmates of mine, and I want you to notice what is the first thing you actually see. Now, disregard the young men in the background making a victory pose. What is the second thing you may notice? Have you counted how many Asians are in the picture? Or maybe have you counted how many blacks are in the picture? But let's try and look at deeper things. Maybe the girl on the far left, she's wearing a very colorful scarf. Possibly this reflects her bubbly personality. Even the young girl in the middle is wearing a hijab, so maybe she's Muslim. Well, this is actually a very interesting question, and it's okay to ask, but you don't want that to stop where you get to know her. So the girl you're actually looking at right now, her name is Yasmin. Yasmin is an avid reader, a lover of SpongeBob, and a lover of basketball, but I wouldn't have known these things if I hadn't seen her with a blind eye. Blind people don't have the advantage to use their sight first, therefore they use their other senses, such as their ears or their mouths, hello, food. But by doing this, I learned so much about her and also her culture, and I respect her, and I respect her culture. And exposing myself towards these new cultures, these new things, is first, the first key to further understanding.
So maybe for adults, try exposing yourself to different ethnic groups. Perhaps just walk up to someone and start a light conversation. Don't obviously just ask them, what are you? Just walk up and start a light conversation. Okay? Maybe join an organization that is diverse, or try new food. Perhaps try to dive into the realm of another's cultural background. Maybe listen to their music. Maybe watch a cultural dance and really listen with your eyes as to what story the movement might be telling you. Try to understand and try to put yourself in another's shoes. These are all tactics that I will be using in my career as a prospective social worker, but there are also things I encourage you all to do in your everyday life. And maybe promote them in your children as well by enrolling them in schools that are multicultural, like the one Blake and I attend.
As Danielle stated, we both go to a very culturally diverse school, and I've been going there since the 6th grade, Danielle the 9th. And I recall on my first day of school that the teacher actually offered me this candy called damla. Now, damla is this very delicious Turkish candy. It's gummy, comes in all different flavors, but the first thing I thought was, don't take candy from strangers. I've been told that all my life. But I looked at that teacher and I realized that she could never be a stranger to me. I mean, she had such a nice trench coat and a warm smile, and I took that candy. And in that candy, I found flavors of opportunity and hopes that I know that is something I want to share as also a psychiatrist or a philanthropist. And what I enjoy is the fact that I've probably tried a food from almost every country in the world, and the people of other faiths and cultures, they bravely wear their respectable clothing every day in the halls, and I really admire that. But the most important thing is the fact that our student body is just as receptive to this multicultural environment. It's really lovely, and the amount of exposure you have is very dependent upon your environment. And I think my school has given us a very nice path to follow, and I like to call it my ev, or home in the Turkish language. And from that, I think anyone who has this type of experience should definitely think it is worthy, because this kind of experience is definitely impacting. Now I want to talk about diversity. Diversity also has two different perspectives. Those who support diversity feel that, you know, different ideas, different perspectives, different views, that integration allows to make choices that will benefit everyone. However, those who may not support diversity feel that even though there is a lack of forced segregation, cultures will naturally gravitate to those who are more similar to them. For example, blacks and whites, they may feel that they have to come together in a work setting, but in the comforts of their own homes, you know, they may make jokes about the other culture. Or Chinese people who come to the US, they may gravitate towards Chinatown as they may not want to assimilate to the American culture.
The fact is, both sides may be completely correct, but the operative word here is comfortable. This word comfortable may be that obstacle standing in the way between adaptation, growth, and progress. Maybe, you know, you'll try a new drink or a new seasoning and say, hey, that might go well with this dish, or that might go well with this other cultural dish. And that's the point. When you allow yourself to be exposed to diversity, you invite in innovation. Once you are able to see through a diverse setting, then your eyes will be open to different your eyes will be open to different ways of thinking. You'll be able to see God's beautiful creations, and you'll see how boundaries are broken down in front of you and how opportunities are budding in their presence. Once you've seen through a different person's eyes or a different way of thinking, you will truly understand what me and Blake say me and Blake mean when we say you have to be blind to see clearly. Thank you.
Actually, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Hi, I'm back again.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Actually, I have a question. So you said what you talked about, seeing without the preconceptions. Can you give us a practical thing that you can use, people can take back, or that I could use to prevent me from using stereotypes or preconceptions? What is something practical that you can think or keep as a mindset to help you?
Okay, well, sure. Like we said, you know, sometimes it's even subconscious. Some of it is purposely and some of it is subconscious. So when you're meeting that person, as soon as that thought comes in your head, oh, I know they're gonna be like this, drop it. Just forget about it completely and speak to that person as an individual, not as, oh, this is what I think they're gonna say to me, or this is the way I think they're gonna act.
So it sounds like being introspective, thinking about why am I thinking this, or how should I address this? One thing that's interesting is it sounds like it's important to not ignore something, or not just prevent yourself from addressing it because you're uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you should actually go and address it. If you see something that's unusual or you're curious about, not be afraid about asking about it, but at the same time, make sure you're asking it in a way that's not offensive.
Exactly.
So make sure you're not drawing from preconceptions. Make sure your question is something that's of real interest, and not just something from past or an experience or something.
Exactly.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.